Welcome to Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richheimer. We are having a lot of fun because we're bonding. Bonding is that's the way to go. We're going to do more of it today. We are on chapter 12, Bonding Forever, and we're on page 311 in Marriage Secrets. And I'm going to read a slight bit more. I usually read about 4 minutes. I think I'm going to go 5 minutes today. But here's the thing. Start writing your questions. info@ladiestalkshow.com, and we will get them answered. Okay. Love him fully. We need to stop expecting our husband to turn into the perfect man. It's surprising how happy we can be if we don't expect our husband to meet some impossible ideal. We need to stop waiting for our husband to turn into who we want him to be and learn to deal with who he actually is. We need to learn his likes and dislikes, to study his face for subtle signs of contentment, to find out about what makes him happy, to ask him what pleases him, and then to deliver on what he desires. It is so tragic that right in front of us is the one true love of our life, and we withhold our love from him. This is not a dress rehearsal for life. So many women think, when he treats me nicely, then I will love him fully. Or when he apologized for hurting me, then I will love him fully. They set so many conditions on loving their husband fully. What they don't recognize is that if they love him fully, many of the issues would be resolved. Today will never come again, and you have only one chance on this day to shower him with love. Some of my students have confided in me that they withhold their love because in the back of their minds, they wonder whether they truly married the right person. But if you stood under the chuppah with this man, then you know without any doubt that you were destined to be with this man. Nothing on earth happens without Hashem's blessing. Try your hardest to give up this train of thought right here and now. It just keeps you from feeling close to your husband. You married him, now love him fully. Stop letting the Yetzer Hara hijack your life. Hijack your happy life. Instead, shower your husband with love. This is one of the main reasons you were born in the first place. There's so much more going on spiritually than we can ever know. But if we just do our job fully without reservations, we will reach spiritual heights for eternity. Be happy. Nothing makes a husband happier than to make his wife happy. There's an old expression, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Being mama is an awesome responsibility. Certainly, whether we are smiling or laughing is important, and we should do our best to smile even when we don't feel like it. But the most potent way to show our husband whether we are happy or not is how much we complain. We don't realize that no matter what we complain about, our husband is certain that it's his fault. He takes our unhappiness and frustration as a personal failure on his part. The more we complain, the more he will feel like giving up and trying to make us happy. We must realize that the way it works is, if we complain less, our husband will feel more satisfied that he's doing a good job and will work harder to please us. The more we complain, the less motivated he'll be to try to make us happy. He will give up rather than try and risk failure. Just bite your tongue once a day when a complaint is about to emerge. Start slowly, but we must be aware of how negatively complaining impacts the joy of the home. Rav Chaim Vital explains that the tikkun of the element of earth is constant happiness with your portion. For all that Hashem does is good, and to enthusiastically act with intense simcha, joy, in serving your owner. Right when you're about to complain about something, try your hardest to squelch the urge. The urge will certainly pass and lessen with practice. Perhaps instead, think of something you are grateful for at the moment. But stemming complaints will give your husband a priceless, contented feeling. Imagine how much happiness that will create for you. And don't forget to daven for Shalom Bayis every day. Pour your heart out to the Ribono Shel Olam to bring an aliyah in Shalom Bayis into your home. There is likely no tefillah, no prayer that is more important or precious to Hashem. Get closer every day. We all want to feel safe. It's a scary world out there. Realize that your husband has the power to make you feel safe, protected, and secure. Husbands have been created by the master of the universe explicitly to take care of us in this way, and every husband has the potential to do this for his wife. But if we belittle our husbands or put them down all the time, we rob them of this power. If instead we build them up and learn to bring out their strengths, they can bring us the comfort and security that we all crave. It's not that bad things can't happen in our lives, but our husbands can help us to gain the serenity to understand that Hashem is managing everything. Maybe your husband is serving as Hashem's emissary to make you feel safe in this world. As you work on yourself and your ability to receive bracha deepens, you will feel this more and more. One of the most powerful and wonderful tools for moving forward and growing spiritually is to work hard to feel Hashem's presence every day. Don't be so busy that you can't take a moment to notice how delicious the water you're drinking is. How nice of him to make it so refreshing. If you feel emotionally weak in the middle of the night, whisper a thank you to Hashem for your cozy pillow. Doing that brings you closer to Hashem, and you will feel comforted by feeling his presence. Don't chalk it up to mere coincidence that a neighbor just happens to be going to the same location as you and can give you a ride in the rain. Smile to Hashem when this happens. Recognize his loving hand right by your side. Work to feel his presence in your life every day, and you will. The more you are able to recognize this, the easier it will be for you to recognize the kinds of things that your husband does for you as well. It's also important to realize that most people think, I am a body and I have a soul. But it's the other way around. Your soul has a body. The core of who you are, the eternal part, is your neshama. We are each given a particular body with its particular physical attributes, its particular character flaws, and its particular strengths and weaknesses. Your body is uniquely designed to help your neshama complete its mission in this world. Never confuse yourself with your body. That's where the despair of the rest of the world comes from. You are a lofty soul, and your job is to elevate your body to holiness through mitzvahs and service to Hashem. There is no place where a better opportunity to do this exists than in the sanctity of marriage. By bonding with our husbands, we elevate ourselves. It's hard work sometimes, but it's the exact work that we were sent here to do. And it's got a wonderful side benefit. It grants us husbands who cherish us. Torah tells us that when the Beis HaMikdash existed, the exact location that the Shekhinah physically came down to earth was between the two cherubim that faced each other on the Aron, the Ark of the Covenant. The cherubim facing each other symbolized shalom between Hashem and Klal Yisrael. That is why Hashem's light came into the world there and spread its bracha throughout the earth. Now that the Beis HaMikdash is no longer standing, how does the Shekhinah physically manifest itself in the world? Where could there possibly exist a place holy enough for the Shekhinah to come down? Ramban says that there's only one place that is holy enough, and that is the home filled with shalom bayis, is where Hashem rests his presence and then spreads his bracha to the rest of the earth. And the home is intended to be the epicenter of shalom in the world. Thus, our work at bonding with our husbands spreads peace from our own home to homes everywhere. May you be blessed with spreading much peace. Wow. Okay, guys, there's the spiritual aspect for you. Let's go with our questions. What you got for me, Gila?
What a beautiful chapter. Okay, so some questions coming in. So Dina's asking, it's my second marriage and my husband regrets getting remarried as he says he misses his freedom and doesn't need my complications. You speak about loving him fully. I do, but he doesn't love me fully. When I tell him it hurts me, he gets despondent that he can't make me happy. What do I do?
Oy. I can't understand what's driving him to say this mean thing to you, you know? Huh. Sometimes I get a question. It's like, I wished I had you in front of me so I could do back and forth with you so that I could find out more data points, because it's a little hard standing on one foot to answer something so complicated and so painful. So I'm just going to have to take an educated guess that he is, whatever drove his first marriage apart and whatever issues he has. I mean, it seems like he's carrying a lot of baggage, and, that he wants freedom. Like, freedom is, you get the most freedom when you've got a home. You know what I mean? Like, then you can always come back to your home. It's like whatever happens to you that day, whatever, you've got a home. And without a wife, he doesn't really have a home. So it makes no sense what he's saying, and he's confused, because you can't say, to long for his freedom is just that's very sad. So I don't think this is necessarily something you're doing right, you're doing wrong. There's always something a wife can do, as we always say. Just reassuring him, it might be the thing. It might be he needs therapy or something, or a third party to talk talk this out and say, you can't say that to your wife. Hello, you can't tell him that, because, whatever. But somebody needs to tell him, you cannot read my lips. You cannot say that to your wife, or a wife cannot say it to her husband. It's just mean, and it's probably not true. It's probably not an accurate assessment of what the dynamic is. So I think what you can do, as you've done, is tell him that it hurts your feelings or whatever. And if he gets despondent, say, what do you want me to do? Maybe hand the problem to him and say, what do you want me to do? It does hurt me. Should I just keep it in and bolster, and what's that called when it just festers, bolster, fester, whatever. It festers, and it's just festering inside me. It wounds me. And it's not acceptable. Like, I would never say something like that to you. And I try to love you fully, even though, that I have bad days and I have bad moods and whatever. And I try and do everything I possibly can. And that's our obligation to each other. When we stood under the chuppah, that was the commitment we made, is to work at it. And this kind of comment really, really, really is painful. And if you feel you really can't stop it yourself, and anytime I bring it up, you get despondent and kind of disconnect from me, I really think we need to go see someone. By the way, even though really he's the one who might need to go see someone about this, if you say we need to go see someone, it makes it kind of like it's our problem. So that might be an easier way to get a husband into therapy. I'm not an expert in that, so ask somebody, ask a professional, somebody who's licensed as a professional healthcare provider. That question. But I have a feeling that wowould be the softer way to go to get him to get some help in this. But this is definitely something you don't have to tolerate, because it's not very nice. And I wish you a lot of luck with it. Be bolster strong. If it's in any way possible to not take what he said personally, that he's lashing out, or maybe he had, connection problems with his parents or his mother, or, or his first wife or something like that. And it may have nothing to do with you. It may just be he's bringing baggage into the relationship. It could be that he was perfectly fine, and then he came in and you always are putting him down. So this is his way of getting back at you. So I would look for that, just as a sense of introspection and a way to help yourself out of a difficult situation, because there might be something there to fix. But for the most part, I think you should try to see a third party. Okay, very good question. I'm sorry you had to hear that from him, and I hope you can have thick skin so that you can get through this together. Okay, good luck.
Okay. Shira's question is, isn't complaining a part of communicating? Are we never allowed to kvetch to our husbands?
You are allowed to kvetch, but you just have to understand that, hi, dear, nice to see you. Yes, you too. You can't believe what happened. Blah, 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 whatever. I mean, it's hard. Listen, we were born complainers. Somebody came in purring costume, and he had a big stomach, with lots of pillows stuffed in. And it said, excuse me, why do I have such a deep desire to complain, or something like that? Like, hello, so we're born that way. It's part of our nature. Tone it down a little bit. That's all you need to do. Just tone it down. Just recognize that when you say, "Oh, I can't believe it. My car didn't work today. I went to go start it and I tried to get to work and it didn't start. I had to get a ride from a coworker, whatever." For you, you're just saying what bad day you had. The guy is sitting there thinking, oh, I should have thought of putting a new carburetor. I don't know what a carburetor is, but whatever. I should have thought of fixing it beforehand. I should have checked it out. I should have sent it to the shop. I should have, whatever. They take it personally. So as long as you know that going in, as you're complaining, you're clocking that, oh, wait, I'm just sharing my, it feels good actually to complain, I'm just sharing my day. What's the problem? But just realize you can overdo it and tone it down a bit. That's it. Okay.
Okay. Rifki is asking, after so many years of my husband not being able to bond with me, I have no inclination to emotionally connect with him as my friends do a good enough job. Is this wrong?
After so many years of what?
Not being able to bond with me. So now she just uses her friends, and she feels like that fills her bucket for her emotional needs.
It's for sure true that a woman, needs friends to bond with. That a lot of her emotional needs can be met that way, but her husband should be her primary emotional support. I mean, the thing I don't understand about the question is, why she's happy with it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's sad. And also, why isn't her husband able to emotionally bond with it? Is he like on the spectrum or something like that? Or is he mentally have mental illness, something like that? Or is it because anytime he tried to get close with her, she pushed him away, or she put him down, or she threatened him? I mean, is it something a lot of these things are so hard to untangle. Like it's a bunch of spaghetti in a pot, or in a bowl, it's a big serving dish with scallions and, whatever, it's this delicious side dish, but it's all spaghetti, whatever, and pulling each strand out and separating. Good luck with that. So it's a little hard to say. But the action steps are to do introspection, to try and see, okay, what might I have been doing wrong or incorrect or unsupportive that could have pushed him away? A lot of women have said to me, my husband, this, and I said, well, how were you? In other words, there's many, many times when it's the woman who's instigated it. I'll give you an example. I had a woman and she said, my husband is verbally abusive, right? And she got a lot of sympathy from her sisters, her mother, everybody's, she shouldn't have done. She should have picked one person who was going to help the situation rather than saying, yeah, he's a jerk. What's going on here? Sorry. She said, my husband's emotionally abusive. So instead of saying, oh, that's too bad, well, let's think about it. I said, what do you mean? And so she said, when we have when there's a conflict arises, he tries to run out the room. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, I'll say, we need to figure out what the camp is. I need to register by today. And he'll say, let me think about it. I'm like, you've been thinking about it for 3 days. We need to decide now. And he'll fight me. And I will press him to, do it right then and there. So I asked her, has he ever mentioned to you that he is a slow processor and he needs to think about things by himself, or he needs 20 minutes or anything like that? And she's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, so you're forcing him to stay in the conversation when many people need to process and go away and think about it a little bit or whatever, many people, and that can change over time, but it's certainly a starting position in many marriages where a person needs time to think about and process and come to their own decision and not be bullied into a corner, so a lot of people need that. And she said, are you giving him that opportunity to do that? And she said, no, because I feel like he's trying to run away. I said, he might be trying to run away, but it's equally likely that he's trying to process, and he's trying to get away from you to process so he can process it by himself without you hovering. Then what happens? And she says, well, I force him to stay in the room, and then he blows up and screams his head off at me. So is he verbally abusive? I mean, yes, one would characterize him as verbally abusive. Did she do everything humanly possible to make him verbally abusive? I mean, who's the victim? You know what I'm saying? That's why I said it's spaghetti. It's tangled in a mess. It's a bit of a mess. She's pushing him into a corner and then mad that he yells and tries to claw his way out of the corner. So I'm not blaming her and him. I'm saying they've got to understand this dynamic so at least they can do something about it. So same here in this question that you're asking is that, it's, she needs to figure out, did she do anything in the past that had him not want to bond with her and not want to connect with her and not want to be with her and just going about their parallel lives, which is basically sad. I mean, there are scenarios where that's just the way it is. I've in many cases I'm like, well, okay, they're gonna live and die that way, and that's okay. I mean, it's sad. It's not what I would hope for in my marriage. It's not what hopefully any of us would want. We'd want to have our best friend and have our emotional support and be bonded and close and share everything without complaining too much. I think that she needs to explore those things. If she can't explore them herself, or it's too painful to explore it herself, then maybe she gets her own therapist or they go to therapy together or something. But it's definitely something to look at. I don't know that unless there are, again, mental issues or whatever, which I'm not an expert in or whatever, where he cannot bond, and he cannot bond, he's incapable of bonding, and she's just made a life for herself with him, I guess, I don't know. She'd have to ask a Rav what their opinion of it and look at it inside, because I'm just seeing superficial details. But in any case, I would do some introspection and see if you can improve the closeness in your marriage. I wish you a lot of good luck. Boy, we're getting tough ones today. Okay, very, very good. Okay,
Okay.
go ahead, Gila.
Sora's asking, I love to sit in bonds with my husband, and my husband only finds it enjoyable if we go out, which entails clearing our schedules, getting the kids to bed, and finding a babysitter. It doesn't happen often. How can I convince him to just sit on the couch and schmooze?
Oh, it's a good question. You're a good lady to want to do that with your husband. So maybe the couch is the wrong place. Maybe, you can go to a Home Depot. I don't know what country you're in or whatever, where they have these, things, and you can buy a porch swing, or you actually just get a board with a plank, and then make sure you have two ropes, whatever, so it doesn't tilt or whatever, and you make your own swing in the backyard or something like somewhere. And let's say you don't have a yard, on a patio or around the corner, on somebody's what's that thing called, a park bench kind of a thing. Like, let's say someone has one, or there's one around the corner or something, and you can put the speaker, a child speaker, if you're only going like, the 3 or 4 houses away or something. I'm making up this kind of stuff, but I'm just saying couches where kids can run in any second, or where the phone, the temptation of the fridge, or the temptation of the computer, or the email, or the phone, or whatever, might not be enough clearing of a head for him. He may have different needs, deeper needs to connect and go into a different location. So I would try and find something that is a lot more convenient, a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? Just ease of logistics, an easily logistical solution to this thing. I think that would make a world of difference. Suggest that to him. And, if that doesn't work, then I would actually have a big, deep heart to heart, go out to dinner with him, and have the agenda of that going out be, how can we do this more often? I feel like when we do this, I feel so much closer to you, and I feel like our weeks go better, and our day-to-day life is better. And I just feel like we need it more often. And, put it in his lap and see what he says. Let me give the homework. Hold on a second. One time this week, do something to bond with your husband. Anything. Either it's forgiving him without even talking, so you're thinking of something, or it's saying something nice to him, or it's stopping to complain so he doesn't feel like he needs to run. But one time this week, do something to bond with your husband. Okay, this is Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show. We'll see you next time.